Well, obviously, we've got to continue to improve. I think there's some key areas that we've been working on in practice that just really are key to every game, not just these two games. With Milwaukee, they're playing really good basketball right now. They're very disciplined on D, and they're starting to hit shots, which is helping them win games. You know, they've won, I think, 3 of their last 5 games. So they're playing their best basketball this season. We've got to go up there and have a lot of energy. We've got to execute and be disciplined. And then in Green Bay, I mean, that's I don't think it's any one key against Green Bay. I mean, they're super talented, super disciplined, big, strong. They can all post it. They can all shoot it. To go up there and beat Green Bay, you got to have a lot of confidence. You got to go in there with some swagger. They've been off. They've had 2 weeks where they've really had quite a few days in between games. This is their senior night. It's also their fan appreciation night. So they will certainly be ready to roll. It should be a fun week.
The key is not overlooking Milwaukee. Obviously, Green Bay is a big game, but you don't overlook Milwaukee folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said this all year that Milwaukee, for me, is a really good team, very talented. They return good pieces. They brought in new pieces. They've got good post players. They've got good guards. They're a very complete team. They lost some close games early on in the season, and that kind of snowballed into a negative effect for them. But I've said all along they're going to get hot at some point this season, and they're playing their best basketball right now.
What is the mindset going into that game specifically? Because obviously the stakes for that game are not quite as high as for Green Bay, but it's an opportunity to get better too. So what is the mindset that you want to have your team going into that game?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be ready to play. Obviously, we play Thursday, Saturday. We've got to be crisp. We've got to go in there and be focused. We did not, put Milwaukee away when they were here. We pulled away, took our foot off the gas. Pulled away, took our foot off the gas. And they're playing a lot better now than they were then. So we've got to be ready to go. We don't want to be heading into Green Bay off of a loss. So we know that we've got to be focused to take care of business on Thursday first.
Looking at Green Bay, I mean, you kind of talked about having to have that swagger going in there. I think you all are the last team that's beaten them all season. So what works then, and how do you make sure to translate that into now on their home court?
Well, we're both 2 very different teams than where we were first time. We played them before Christmas. It was one of our first conference games. So they didn't have Natalie McNeil, which is one of the best players in the league, and we're a completely different team as well. Our role players have really grown into their roles, and they weren't at that point in the season. So, we're their last loss, but they're it's Green Bay. They're a powerhouse. They do this every single year. They rattle off 30 wins every single year. So it's nothing new, and I think that's their biggest threat is they're just so experienced in these situations. But we have that confidence. We know we have the talent. It's just going to be who really executes that day.
And something I know we've talked about before is the concept of before you were the hunter, it won't, throughout that winning streak that you had, sort of target was on your back. Do you still feel like you are in that sort of peak spot right now, or are you looking at Green Bay as another threat to top it?
On Thursday, we're definitely still the one being hunted. I mean, that could make their whole year is to upset us and kind of ruin our week. But Saturday, I don't think it's either. I think we obviously still have a lot to prove. Green Bay always is going to have the target on their back. It's at their place. But at the end of the day, if we both go in there with one loss, it's a winner-take-all scenario. So I don't think anybody can be the hunter or the hunted in that scenario. We've got to go in there like we belong, and I think we will.
What would it mean to you to bring a conference championship to 3-4 win?
Yeah, I mean, it's never been done since being in the Horizon League, and I think it would be really cool to bring the first Horizon League regular season championship back to the Gates Center, hang that banner. It's one of those things where you want to check that box every single year. Obviously, it doesn't happen every single year, but it would be a surreal feeling. Really special moment, and I'd be super pumped for the school, the administrators who've kind of been here since day one, but mostly for our girls who have really just put the team in front of themselves all year long and really just created this special season that we've all got to be witnesses to.
And to be able to do it with this senior class, 6 of them, you got to a senior night just over the weekend. What would that mean to you to have it for this group and these upperclassmen?
I think it would be icing on the cake for this group. I mean, this group really doesn't need anything else to prove themselves. I mean, they went from, stepping onto this campus when the program was nothing to now it's, competing for a championship. 18-1 in conference is just absolutely insane. 17-1, whatever we are, 1 loss. And so for them, they don't need this to prove anything, but it would be cool for them to be able to finish off their careers with that championship.
That's it.
That's good. Thank you, Coach.